What's up guys, Venom here, and welcome to my Guild Wars 2 pre-release. With the beta confirmed to be out this year, I've decided to make some videos in the run-up to the release about some of the unique features in Guild Wars 2. I've put some clips together with other videos that I found, so you can sit back and watch. If you enjoy this video, remember to like, favourite and subscribe for more like this. Today's episode is all about dynamic events, so as always guys, enjoy the video.
We're trying to take the concept of traditional quests in an MMO and throw them out the window. We have replaced those entirely with dynamic events in Guild Wars 2. So the concept here is when you're out exploring in the world, there are dynamic events that are going on all over the place around you. And people can naturally join in on these dynamic events. You don't have to walk up to a guy, talk to him, read 6 paragraphs of text and figure out what's going on. Go off, do something, come back and get a reward. Instead in Guild Wars 2, you are naturally drawn into this content.
Okay. So now that he's gotten to the garrison, he finds that the gates are closed and the garrison needs help with the centaurs that are outside here. He's about to experience his first dynamic event, and one of the things that happens is dynamic events, by their very nature being dynamic, are difficult to predict when they're going to happen. And so right now he's got this small task of kind of helping to defend the garrison while we're waiting for the event to kick off. This is the sort of thing that we do in the tutorial to kind of give players a really gradual experience and introduction into how dynamic events work and how the game works. So one of the things you can notice Matthew did, he's an elementalist, so he just switched to water attunement. Now his first skill is going to do a little bit less damage than that fireball he had, but it will heal allies who are in the area where it hits. And so that's a good example of how water is kind of different. You can also notice him dodging. You can double tap in any direction to dodge out of the way of harmful effects. You see he didn't get hit by the arrow there. A lot of creatures, you'll notice as we go through, have kind of big attacks that you can see them charging up. That's a good warning that you probably should dodge out of the way. One of the other things to note is that, again, this is another example. For players who want to talk to the guy and get a little bit more information, they can do that. That was actually really good timing. You went up and talked to him right when the event kicked off. So now we're in our first dynamic event. You can see that it's defend the garrison. This is a really simple kind of holdout event, defend the garrison from centaurs. Right now there are currently no other live players, and so you can see there's only a few centaurs coming in at a time. If other players were to join the fight, you would see the event kind of dynamically scale up. So again, this is just how the world can kind of change. I think there's another player that showed up there. There's one other elementalist there. So he's using a skill right there that's a charge skill. So the longer he holds that down, the more ice shards it throws out. There are a lot of different variants of skills in the game. There are skills that you hold down, and then when you release them, they start ending their effect. There are charge skills like the one we just saw, where you hold them down to get greater power. He's using his heal right now, which the longer he holds it down, he just kind of constantly heals. So here comes a champion Modnir High Sage. You can tell he's a champion character, so he's a little bit more of a, not quite a boss, but a special, tougher character. And there's Logan in there, helping out the Seraph. So you'll notice we succeeded in defending the garrison. You get an event success thing. You'll notice he's been rewarded with experience and karma, and so he can click that. He got gold participation, which just means he participated to a good enough degree to feel like he could get the game gauge that he could get rewarded for the entire thing. So this is an example of an event chain. They defeated the Centaur Shaman, and it's chaining into this boss event now. This is a good example of the sort of thing that we want to do for players, which is we don't want players to have sort of menial tasks and fight really weak opponents at the beginning of the game. We want to throw them into the action and make them feel like heroes. And so you'll get to fight, you know, big bosses like this even as early as the tutorial. So you notice the elemental is throwing off bits and pieces of itself. So it looks like there are some bandits actually attacking this farm. Note again that the event kind of just popped up. We didn't have to go accept a quest or anything like that. And when he throws that jar of bees, oh, he missed. So a swarm of bees will come out had he hit with that and attack whoever he hit with. So you notice he's in Water Attunement. We kind of hit on this a little bit earlier. In Water Attunement, he becomes much more of a support character. You notice he's healing. You can see the green numbers there. He's healing his allies that are nearby. If he wants to, he can switch back to Fire Attunement and be much more of a damage dealer. This is part of the versatility that we want all our players to have. And speaking of that, so the other thing is, all of our players in the world can revive any downed player or NPC, and they can do that because we don't want players to have to wait for a particular profession in order to play. We want players to be able to play with whoever they really want to play with, and we want to encourage players to think of other players as always being a positive thing. Other players mean that if you get knocked down, they can get you back up no matter who they are. Another thing to note again, there's a lot of players taking part in this. This event is scaling dynamically to keep it interesting for the number of players that are here. If some of the players leave, it will scale back down. If more players join, it will scale back up. Also of note, Matthew joined kind of when the event was towards its middle. He didn't have to wait for the event to reset before he could participate in it. He just went ahead and participated in it. And he's playing with all these other players that he's not grouped with. They all have common goals, and they're all having a pretty good time playing together. And that's a big important thing for us. It's one of our themes is we want players to run around and see opportunities to be a hero, see opportunities for adventure, and then partake in those. We want to try to remove barriers that would stop them from doing those things. Notice also that as we're getting rid of the farmers, we have Farmer Dia liking us more and more.
Grab a bucket and stand by.
You also hear NPCs shouting sort of direction to players. This again is, we make extensive use of voice work. We have tens of thousands of lines of voice text in the game. And this is so that we don't have to throw a lot of text at players. We can communicate to players through voice. Players can understand what's going on. For example, that one player was just telling people that if they can throw a bucket of water, then they can help out, and there are buckets of water located around. So Matthew went ahead and got one. So if some of the bandits manage to light these hay bales on fire, Matthew can use that bucket to put out the fire. Also note when he picked it up, his skill changed down here, similar to when he picked up that jar of bees. So environmental objects do a lot of different things in the world. So Matthew can also, if he wants to ignore the immediate danger going on, he can go help the crops grow, which might be a little frivolous given that there are bandits trying to kill everyone in the area. So now he's using a skill to heal himself. You'll note that it was what we call a hold skill. So the longer he holds the skill down, the longer he heals. We have all different types of skills in the game. We have skills that change and kind of go in a progression. They're called combo skills. He's got a skill right here that's what we call a charge skill, where the longer he holds it down, the more powerful it becomes. He can release the skill at some point before then to you know, if he needs time. So you can see there it charged up. So again, you see things like other water elementalists running around in water attunements, so they can act as kind of healers. You've got rangers, necromancers. Necromancers are actually pretty decent support characters as well. Okay, and you saw there.
My cows thank you. Everyone who eats beef and drinks milk thanks.
Players just finished that last wave of bandits off, and Matthew contributed a lot during that event, so he gets full credit for it. And so one of the themes that we have in the game is we want events to have some sort of impact on the world. This particular event had the players not succeeded. The farmer wouldn't have hay to feed his cows, and so his cow herd would suffer because of that. And then you'd find that merchants who rely on this farmer for supplies of milk and cheese and things like that wouldn't have those things to feed. So Matthew's going to feed one of the cows, which it makes it really happy. And so that's just one of the consequences, one of the smaller consequences in the game of, you know, had this event not succeeded, it would have infected the merchants in the area. Now, events can have more far-reaching consequences. We have events that kind of level entire towns and things like that. Actually, Matthew's trying to get my attention here. So this is a good example. There's actually, these irrigation pipes have stopped working. That's a good indication that something's going on. You can see up there, something is going on. Something's attacking the water pump station up there and causing some damage. And so we would know if the third pipe had been destroyed if this one turns off as well. And then if all of the irrigation pumps turn off, it changes the spawn of creatures in that area.
So guys, that's it for this week's episode of Guide to Guild Wars 2. If you enjoyed this video, please like or favourite down below. And if you didn't like it, leave a comment to tell me why. Remember to subscribe to me for more Guild Wars videos and to be the first to know about them when they're released. You can also follow me on Twitter at VenomGuildWars2. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you next week.